Welcome to DDL, where we discuss everyday topics like current events and or controversial points of view. This is Noel. I'm Void. First things first, shout out to our sponsor, Candle Time. Head over to the link in the description to purchase a candle today.
We're on. Told you there's a
Little delay. You're not lying.
Slight delay.
I still like it.
Run it.
Run it. So Senator Lindsey Graham's an asshole.
He was actually decent back when Trump first got elected in 2016. Like Graham 2.0 was halfway decent, but then he just reverted right back to.
He got an update, and
he's like 2.1 now.
Yeah, 2.1.6, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
And now we have the Lindsey Graham today introducing a bill or a resolution. Excuse me. What is it? SRJ 106?
You want to just?
That's what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen.
You want to switch over to screen share right now and do this?
Yeah, let's get ready to do it.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah,
SJ Resolution 106, a joint resolution to authorize the use of United States Armed Forces against the Islamic Republic of Iran for threatening the national security of the United States through the development of nuclear weapons.
Dun, dun, dun.
So yeah, this is Graham 2.1. Going back to his war hawkish ways and wanting to send American men to die.
What do they call that? The war machine or whatever?
Yeah.
And that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, we have no business there, in my opinion.
A summary is in progress. So there's no summary on this. Yeah. So just in case you guys are wondering, this is from the congress.gov, and then we're actually just looking right at the...
I want to read it when it comes out.
Oh, here's the text of it, bro.
Oh, there it is.
It's a joint resolution to authorize the United States Armed Forces against the Islamic Republic of Iran for threatening the national security of the United States through the development of nuclear weapons. But this development wouldn't have taken place if Biden and Obama weren't
giving them all that money.
Yeah, I mean, they basically funded their entire nuclear weapons research.
There's like, what, $6 billion that were frozen or something that Biden
Not
released?
Biden. That was Obama. Obama flew pallets of cash to Iran and just dropped it off.
I remember that, but I thought when Biden got into office, he like unfroze like $6 billion.
No, he basically that was Obama, and then when Biden got back in office, he reversed, because it was Trump's policies. He reversed all of Trump's policies because anything that Trump did was bad, right? Orange man bad.
Yeah.
And then he started giving cash back to freaking Iran as well.
The terrorists.
So, whereas since the Iranian Revolution in 1979, the Islamic Republic of Iran has engaged in acts of international terrorism, continuously threatened the United States, Israel, and partners and allies. Well, that's not wrong. No. But the simple fact is the Democratic Party basically has been funding Iran to commit terrorism.
Yeah, exactly. They've been funding everything.
So... Whereas on January 19th, 1984, the United States designated the Islamic Republic of Iran as a state sponsor of terrorism for repeatedly providing support for acts of international terrorism. Again.
And it just keeps going.
So, April 11, 2006, the Islamic Republic of Iran announced that it had enriched uranium for the first time to a level close to 3.5% of the Natanz pilot fuel enrichment plant. Natanz, Iran. And then whereas on December 23rd of 2006, the United Nations Security Council adopted Resolution 1737, which imposed sanctions with respect to the Islamic Republic of Iran for its failure to suspend enrichment activities. So basically, it looks like they're just going through the history of, which makes sense if you're going to try convincing people that Iran is a threat. Well, Iran is a threat, but
they are a threat.
But they're a threat of our own making. I think that's my point.
That's right on.
The United States government has this very bad habit of interfering with every other country on the planet.
Like, mind your goddamn business.
It's like it made sense after World War II. We were the only dominant country because everyone else was ravaged from war. So it made sense for us to pick up a lot of slack. But as they rebuilt and as they became more stable and back in getting economic power grown back in it, the United States did not want to let go of that power. No. They wanted to continue doing it, which makes no sense. Wars. I mean, the United Nations makes no sense. NATO, I am not a fan of NATO, and the only reason why NATO was made in the first place
With defend against Russia.
was because it was after World War II. Russia was a power, NATO was a power. But after it's not Russia, it was the USSR at the time.
Yeah.
But after the USSR broke, NATO became obsolete. There was no reason to have NATO around anymore.
No, there wasn't.
And what is NATO doing today? NATO is encouraging Russia to take a more provocative stance.
They're trying to get them to, yeah.
So again, it just goes back to the war machine and trying to continuously kill off people on the planet and to continually enrich themselves. So it's absolutely stupid. NATO has no purpose anymore in this day and age.
No.
All it's actually doing is creating tensions among nations that not necessarily are enemies, but not necessarily our allies.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more neutral. We could have a diplomatic relationship with Russia and let Russia do its own freaking thing.
Yeah, we could.
But, the encroachment of NATO countries onto Russia's borders is definitely an issue. And I can understand why Russia wants to push back. That doesn't mean I agree with Russia. That just means I can understand the overall scenario.
Yeah, and at one point, Russia wanted to join NATO.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It kind of threw me for a loop when I learned that they wanted to join, but then we told them no. Like if we were actually if NATO was actually trying to do something positive in that situation, like why wouldn't they welcome them? Then like, I don't know all the facts, but to me, just naturally thinking about it, common sense.
30,000-foot view.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like if they wanted to join us and like diplomatically address that type of a situation between Russia, USSR, and NATO, like why wouldn't you come to the table and figure something out for the people? You know what I mean? For people's lives' sakes. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're trying to say. So you want to continue reading all these histories on this? The United States Security Council.
What's the most recent one? 2020? 2022,
2022,
So these are
2023, 2024.
So these are all like what rules that they broke necessarily?
No, not necessarily.
Or infractions?
It's just things that's happened. So like
situations.
New agencies reported that intelligence agencies of the United States and Israel looking into information for the Islamic Republic of Iran may have developed a computer model that can be used for research and development of nuclear weapons. Right. So it's laying out facts as to why
that they can develop.
It's basically it looks like they put together a timeline of what happened in Iran to show that they are going after nuclear weapons. But what's interesting here is let's see if there's any mention of Obama. That'd be what 2000? Wouldn't that happen in
2008 to 2016?
Bardo fuel enrichment plant in the Islamic Republic years after construction started on the plant. And you look at it, jumps. Doesn't even say anything about the Obama administration. But granted, that was probably approved by Congress.
I'm sure if you do some research, we can pull up something.
Well, no, we all know it happened. I mean, it was in the news for how freaking long.
Oh yeah.
So
weapons of war and mass destruction and.
Yeah. So, Section 1, authorization for the use of military force against the Islamic Republic of Iran. The president is authorized to use all necessary and appropriate force against the Islamic Republic of Iran if the president determines that the Islamic Republic of Iran, 1, is in the process of possessing a nuclear weapon that threatens the national security interests of the United States, or possesses uranium enriched to weapons grade level, possesses a nuclear warhead, or possesses a delivery vehicle capable of carrying a nuclear warhead that threatens the national security of the United States.
You know what bugs me, and I keep thinking about this, is like, okay, so we have open borders right now, and we keep getting people from that part of the world coming through our borders, right? What's going to happen if and when...
Whoops, sorry.
Oh, he's important.
Sorry.
What are we going to do if and when they find out how way to smuggle a nuclear weapon across the border? And detonate that thing.
How do you not know they already haven't done that, right?
And that's the other thing I was getting at. Well, how do we know that they don't already have shit positioned all over the, wherever we're sending them, or along the border somewhere, like.
Well, here's an interesting conspiracy theory that kind of ties into this.
Let's hear it. Lay it on me. I love conspiracy theories.
Well, so under the Bush administration after 9/11, they created that executive order that basically says in great turmoil that you can suspend elections and
Oh,
whatnot,
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
inform another constitutional republic afterwards. So theoretically, you could tie that into this open borders policy, and what you're saying is have massive disruption in the United States that calls into question whether or not the Democrats release power.
Well, see, and I've thought about that too, and I mean, technically, it's feasible for that.
It's
what
feasible.
you just said to happen,
Yeah, it's feasible. I'm not
You know
saying
what I
it's
mean?
going to happen. I'm just saying it's feasible.
but I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest with you.
Wow, look at me. I'm all get them up.
You need to fix that damn thing.
Yeah, I know. This is like,
What'd you do to it?
I don't know.
Looked like you had a rough night with it.
I know. Jacked up, man. Jacked up. So, Section 2, War Powers Resolution Requirements, a specific statutory authorization consistent with the Section 8A1 of the War Powers Resolution. The Congress declares that this section is intended to constitute specific statutory authorization within the meaning of 5B of the War Powers Resolution.
And then
Yeah. So, basically, it's just laid out the history
and why we should do it.
and why we should do it, and then grants authorization for the president to do it. Which is interesting because I don't think we've had an actual declaration of armed forces or war
No.
from the Congress since World War II.
Vietnam?
I don't think Vietnam ever did it. If I remember
don't
correctly,
remember it.
Vietnam never actually got it.
I don't know, but it's like this is making news like worldwide as far as I know.
Yeah, so let's see what actions are.
Read
Read twice and referred to the Committee on the Foreign Relations. Action by the Senate.
Titles.
Official title as introduced. A joint resolution to authorize the use of, so okay, that's the thing. And then committees, it's going to be the
Armed Forces.
Senate Foreign Relations.
Oh.
So it's
Give
been
feedback.
referred. It's been referred. There's no action done
Yeah.
on it yet, basically, other than the referral.
I wonder when they're
go to the
supposed to
committee.
vote on this.
It's got to get out of committee before they can even vote on it in the Senate. So, but it's interesting. I mean, you guys can go here to congress.gov /bill/118th-congress/Senate-joint-resolution/106/committees. Or
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
leave.
whatever.
You contact your member right here.
yeah, you can find out who's on the foreign relations, and you guys can attempt to get it squashed in there.
Yeah.
Tell them like this and move forward. I mean, Lindsey Graham's such a douche.
When I first started like paying attention to politics, I thought he was all right because I was like leaning towards the Republican side of things. I was like, oh, all right, cool. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then he started talking, and I was like, oh man.
That's what what's her nugget? Nikki Haley. Like, she was doing really well as U.S. ambassador to the UN.
Yeah.
Like, really well. I thought she was doing really well. And then she did the presidential running for nominee, and I mean, you could just see that she wants to send American men overseas to die. And the reason why this is important, the reason why we're bringing it up on DDL, is for the simple fact that these men are fathers, these men are sons, these men are husbands and brothers, right? So again, we are letting our political elite basically determine whether or not your son, who is
the next generation.
yeah. I mean, we both have kids that are going to be in military fighting age within the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And we can consistently have all these war hawkish people that want to send our boys to die.
Well, and not just that, they're trying to do girls too now. Remember?
Well, in some ways that makes sense, though. I mean,
Like I'm all about equality and shit.
So, foreshadowing, we had some cancellations for Friday again.
Oh, there you go.
So stupid. But maybe that's something we should actually talk about, which is the what is it? What is that movement? The repeal the 18th or whatever?
Oh, I don't know what he's talking about.
It's they want to repeal the amendment that gives women the right to vote. There's a movement, and it's not a movement by men. It's actually a movement by women.
Oh, I didn't hear anything about this.
Oh man, it's been going on for like 5 years.
No,
What are
I
you
don't
talking
know
about?
nothing about
Yeah.
this.
Basically, what they're saying is like, because when we'll get in more details.
Yeah.
I do have quite a bit of knowledge
I
on
gotta
this
hear
topic,
this.
so yeah, we'll get onto it on
Dude,
Friday.
only thing that ever comes across my like For You page or my news page or whatever is how like women are oppressed. You know what I mean?
Women are not oppressed in
I
this day
know
and
they're
age.
not.
They like to continue claiming the oppressive role
Well, yeah,
because they want to play the victim, right? But there is actually a strong argument to be made that they actually have more rights and freedoms than men do in this day and age.
That's a damn good argument.
I'm not saying it's a true argument. I'm just saying that there is an argument, and the argument can carry water.
It holds weight, bitches.
But we're also going to talk about the accountability. Who has more accountability, men or women?
Is that on Wednesday or Friday?
Friday.
Word.
Wednesday, we're talking about telling the truth.
Dun, dun, dun.
We'll switch back to main event. We showed enough of this bull crap. Lindsey Graham, if you hear this, you suck. Wow.
I don't know. I'm feeling a certain kind of way today.
Yeah. So, yeah, just in case you guys are of political leanings to the right, I'm sorry, but Lindsey Graham's horrible. If you are political leanings to the left, you can tell that we're not Republicans, or I'm not a Republican. You tend to side with Republicans.
Yeah, I do.
But we both are in agreement that America needs to get out of the business of trying to interfere with every other country.
Yeah, dude, mind your goddamn business.
Like, yes, we were a powerful force, and yes, we were a stabilizing force in the world 70, 80 years ago.
I mean, we're still a powerful force and whatnot, but we don't need to put forth all that effort into that part. You know what I mean? Like,
we have so many internal issues.
Yeah, exactly. We have so much shit at home we need to fix.
It's like if we can't even take care of ourselves, why are we trying to take care of the rest of the world?
Thank you.
That's my point. That, and like, take other countries. Take Latin America, for example. Our influence there should be nothing because they have their own culture, they have their own history, they have their own values that they want to proceed with and go forward with. Yep. Why are we trying to determine and interfere with their internal politics? It makes no sense. Take the Middle East, take Asia. Granted, I understand the Asia one a little bit more because we do have a direct enemy with China.
Yeah.
And helping reduce that influence in the Asia sphere is actually going to be beneficial for not just America, but actually the rest of the world as well, because China is on the rise.
Yep.
And they have been on the rise for a while.
They're also, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been to China. Beautiful place. Great people. But their government sucks balls. Yeah.
There's just a lot going on in the world right now.
You like how I like put that?
Yeah.
It just sucks balls. Like, I could have been more articulate, but that gets the point across. Plain and simple.
That's the slim skinny of it, dude. It sucks balls. And like, I feel for those people. There's more of those people from that area of the world coming across the border than anybody.
Yeah.
So that should tell you something. You know, it's from there in the Middle East. Okay, so yes, those parts of the world suck, so there's like my sympathy for those people if that's what they're here for. But then there's the other side where it's all like a bunch of military age men, and there's videos of it all over the place. Mm-hmm. And so it's like,
what are you doing?
Exactly. So like if that's part of it, I'm like, I gotta, take care of mine.
And I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm not saying that anything's gonna happen. I'm just saying that it is happening. And there should be questions arising.
Yes.
Whether or not these military fighting age men are going to come in here and actually start a war. I'm not saying that.
Did you hear?
I'm just saying that because it's happening, why is it happening? And what are they planning?
Yeah. Did you hear about that most recent, I forget where it was, but that most recent illegal immigrant who was caught like, he went to somebody's backyard with like a machete or an axe or something, and it was some kid's birthday party, and like the cop, obviously the dad or whatever subdued him, he shot him,
Mm-hmm.
And then the cops showed up and they asked him like, why would you do this? And he said, now I don't know how much of this is true, I haven't looked into it, but allegedly, they asked him why you did it, and he said because that's what they told me to do before I left my country. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
I'll look more into it. I think it was in Texas, but he said that a lot of people were told that. So now, of course, that could all be a fucking lie, and they're just putting that on media to start getting people riled up for whatever reason too. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that it's necessarily true, but I know the story is out there.
Yeah, fair. Oh, perfect. Yeah. So we wanted to cover the Lindsey Graham crap. Trump assassination, still no official narrative on that one, but everyone's running rampant with the conspiracies. And Like I said before, if mainstream media calls it a conspiracy, just wait 5 minutes. It's going to get proven true.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sad. Oh God, it's sad. And then Kamala Harris.
Did she list her VP pick?
I have no idea. I haven't even looked into. I don't care.
No.
Like at this point, the Democratic Party basically said, "Screw you, America. We're going to do whatever we want to do to stay in power."
They took the people's choice.
Yeah, I mean, the party that claims that democracy is under threat is the party that has actually threatened democracy. They did not. They're not respecting the will of the people. At this point, the Democratic Party is dead to me.
I think if the Democratic Party had it their way, this would be a police state, 100% police.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you and I would be in prison for just having thoughts.
Yeah,
that don't align
been there,
with
done
them.
that.
Yeah,
but
so it's. Yeah, at this point, I could care less who Kamala Harris picks. I'm never voting for that woman.
No,
the simple fact that she was okay with keeping people in prison to get cheap labor to fight fires in California is enough to never make me vote for that woman. She's a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah. And she's not black.
No, she is. She's half
She's
black.
not fucking black.
She's Jamaican, isn't she?
I think like a quarter.
Something
But she identifies as Indian
what's
or
interesting,
Hindu, whatever.
She's part Indian, I believe. She's part black. She's also part white. And the part that her white ancestry actually owned slaves. We're part of the slave trade. So which is interesting, right?
Cold-hearted snake.
But, I mean, nonetheless, the simple fact is this.
I got to hear your thoughts on this.
The simple fact is this. Kamala Harris is a horrible woman. I'd never vote for her, so I don't care about her VP pick. But the Democratic Party took away the American people's voice in who they wanted to be their nominee for the Democratic Party. Their party has subverted democracy, has subverted the will of the people, and the simple fact that they're still even have the power that they have right now is boggling my mind. I don't understand it. As far as I'm concerned, the Democratic Party died. There's going to be a change.
Well said.
There's going to be a change. I don't know if it's going to be libertarians, because libertarians have always been kind of... You can't have a libertarian party because they don't want to have rules and regulations and stuff like that. They want to be more free. So the Libertarian Party doesn't seem like it's going to be a good choice. But there is going to be a rise of another party, I think, that's going to take over from the Democratic Party. And it's more than likely going to be communist, because the Democratic Party is
fucking socialist group.
Yeah, don't call them socialists. Call them communists, because
but I'm just saying they label it as socialist.
Yeah, the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, they're not socialists. No. Yeah, they have a lot of socialists. I mean, socialism is an economic form
of communism,
usually used in the communistic government form. So, I mean, just call them communists.
I mean, it sounds
what it is.
You know what I mean? But all that glitters isn't gold.
No. I mean, they want to take from other people that actually put in effort and put in work. Mm-hmm. They feel that they have the right to other people's labor at no cost.
Look at North Korea. How's that working out?
So, I mean, Karl Marx, while I think he's an idiot overall, he did pose some very interesting thoughts. And if you actually go through and you actually read Karl Marx and you break it down, he's not wrong on a lot of things, mm-hmm. but the ultimate goal of where he wanted to go was wrong, right? Right. So one of the biggest tenets of communism or socialism is the simple fact that the workers should own the right to their own labor, right? Okay. Which is 100% true. What he fails to realize is he fails to do the mental exercise and bringing that all the way to the forefront, which is you are in direct control of your labor. Mm-hmm. I am in direct control of my labor. I know how much I am worth. You are to know how much you are worth. What he's saying is the worker shouldn't know how much they're worth. Just the simple fact that they're doing the work is enough. That's not true. Yeah. You have to develop skill. You have to develop a reason to demand more.
Yeah.
Right.
A set of skills to
And he also fails to continue thinking along the thought process of why or how do those workers even have the means to produce work, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you're an investor or you're a businessman, you start up a company, you are the one fronting mm-hmm. all the capital. Financial. So if you're the one fronting all the capital and then asking them, hey, I have this capital, but I don't have the time. Would you trade me your time mm-hmm. for production of my material, right? So it's interesting how the Communist Party or Karl Marx and a lot of these people think is they can't put all this together. They take it section by section. And section by section, it sounds good.
Yeah.
But when you start lumping
Laying
it
it
all
out.
together, how it all works, it all falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
So it's dumb. Is capitalism the best? I'm sure at some point, whenever we get to the Star Trek level where we have energy matter conversion and we can like synthesize things, at that point, capitalism will no longer be the best.
That's pretty good. I like that.
However, looking at the history of capitalism versus the history of communism or socialism, however you want to break it down, basically the same thing. One's an economic form, one's a form of government. The history of capitalism is enrichment of individuals, where the history of communism is the reduction of personal property, personal rights, and actually communism is the direct cause of how many deaths. I mean, look at Russia or the USSR, look at China. A lot of these have very totalitarian governments because they have to in order to suppress the people, because the people in power need to stay in power and the people don't matter. So
That's what they're trying to do.
It's interesting. Capitalism definitely is not the best
better than that
form,
shit, though.
but it's 100% better. The history of capitalism does show that if you want to raise people out of poverty, capitalism is the best economic system to use to do it. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter what you do. There's always going to be people that have, and there are always going to be people that have not. Even in the communist system, where they all say that they're all equal, they're not all equal.
No.
The Communist Party is up here, and then they put the boot on everyone else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. Sorry, we went a little off topic on that one.
It's a good one, though. That's not too bad when you go off on topics like that, especially when it's the truth and what's going on.
Yeah.
So, anyways, guys.
All right, we're ending it.
Peace.
Thank you for watching. Till next time.
Peace.